Welcome in, Texas fans. Trevor Goosby and the Longhorns got lucky. Trevor Goosby has been diagnosed after an MRI this morning. The MRI happened during coffee and football while we were on talking about Trevor Goosby's injury last night. Texas Longhorns, Trevor Goosby get lucky. Trevor Goosby had the MRI this morning, Hank South, and was diagnosed with a bone bruise. Day-to-day, no real timetable for his return. But Texas fans, it was a rough morning on coffee and football. But, Hank, the Longhorns get lucky, and they do not lose their All-American left tackle for the season.
Yeah, what's that emoji, the smile with the sweat coming down your face a little bit? I think that's every Texas fan this morning. Huge news. It avoids the worst case scenario that ever, you hear someone's getting an MRI, you immediately think ligament. You think your ACL is torn, your season's gone, which obviously would have been worst case scenario. Bone bruise, you can manage a little bit. I'm not a doctor. I'm not claiming medical advice or opinion, but bone bruise, that's not ligament damage. That's not anything structural. And that's good news. And so now, it's about, what's he comfortable with? What's the pain like, the tolerance, all that kind of stuff. But this is good news for Texas and for Trevor Goosby. It would have been terrible if something were to happen on this kind of season after all the buzz he's gained and just the person he is, obviously.
Yeah. So people are asking, with the non-contact injury, how could he have a bone bruise? Well, he had the play. It was described to me. It was a half padded run play in practice last night where he had a bad hyperextension of his knee in a non-contact. It's happened before, happens a lot in basketball. That bad non-contact, did not go to the ground. It was arms fully extended, about to engage in a block, but it was non-contact. And he came away with a bad hyperextension of his knee, is what happened. And that created the bone bruise, from what we were told by someone close to in the Goosby camp. So that is how because people, I just wanted to put that out there because people have asked, well, how can that happen in non-contact? Well, it can happen on that bad hyperextension. Anybody that's watched a lot of basketball, I think Giannis had one of those a couple of years ago. Those bad hyperextensions, I actually had one of those in high school my sophomore year, can absolutely end in a bone bruise. So the question now with Trevor Goosby, Dylan Dessou, there you go, NIL and rev share. We've seen it happen before. It happens a lot in basketball. The question now will be how long will he be on the men, on the men, getting over the soreness of that, and when will he get back into action, Hank? And we don't know that quite yet. We've just been told day to day, no real timetable for his return. But the great thing for Trevor Goosby is there's no reason to rush him back from this in fall camp. He will come back when he's 100%. This won't be a force back in the action.
Texas knows what they have in Trevor Goosby. This is a situation where you probably wrap it up for fall camp and just start to look towards the season with him. If I'm just thinking out loud. But it's not like this is a situation where there's a left tackle battle or he's replacing Kelvin Banks this year. If Kelvin Banks was drafted last year and there's a new left tackle in place. We've seen Trevor Goosby. We know what Texas has in him, and you can feel pretty comfortable knowing that does he need 2 more weeks of fall camp to be ready? Probably not. Again, he was out, for some of the spring with stuff, so still gelling, I guess. But you got a lot of same faces on the offensive line. Obviously, there's continuity with the coaching staff and everything. He knows the system. It's not a guy that needs to necessarily get these reps right now, especially if he's trying to heal from this bone bruise.
Yeah, so again, if you're just jumping in right now, report this morning was Trevor Goosby injured his left knee in non-contact in last night's practice. That was a half-padded practice, shoulder pads, shorts practice, helmets. He was what we reported this morning. He was going to have an MRI, which he had the MRI, and the MRI results came back. Texas got very lucky. Trevor Goosby got very lucky. Bone bruise. Left knee. So again, it's a day-to-day, no timetable for return, nothing that's going to keep him out an extended period of time, or it's not expected to, obviously. So that's where we're at with this Trevor Goosby information, the latest after his MRI this morning. Look, it's great news for Texas. I mean, because look, we look around, Hank, and there's been some rough injuries in college football this year. Tennessee's lost 3 defensive starters for the year. I think Oklahoma's center got lucky. I haven't seen the final reports on that, but maybe their center got lucky. It was feared worse for him in their scrimmage, I think, over the weekend. But we've seen some impact injuries this year in college football. South Carolina's lost 2 receivers for the year last weekend, including Lenora Sellers' younger brother, who's a starter on that team. So far, so good. You keep knocking on wood, and Texas so far. And it's funny because Sarkin, on Monday morning when he met with the media, you were there. The question was literally asked to him, hey, have any injuries with this Texas team right now that could impact into the season? And he literally knocked on wood and said no. And then Goosby goes down a few hours later, and that was not – the Texas staff did not sleep well last night. Oh, my gosh. They did get the good news this morning.
Yeah. He almost jinxed it, kind of. No, but yeah, he mentioned. I know someone just asked in the chat too. Lawrence Seymour, the scrimmage on Saturday. He said he got a little nicked up, nothing serious that's going to hold him out, but they pulled him out of the scrimmage. I think after 11 plays, I want to say something like that. No cause for concern with Lawrence Seymour at this point. But yeah, I mean, you go into fall camp. I feel like particularly especially Texas fans the last couple of years, you just kind of hold your breath. It's like people say, put these guys in bubble wrap. Yeah, I think to an extent, guys, what you have, Raheem Biles, you probably don't need him to be going full speed, but you have to, and this again was a non-contact thing, but you have to be physical in practice. You have to tackle and you have to do these things if you want to play well. You have, everyone talks about toughness and physicality. Well, you got to do that in practice for that to translate onto the field on Saturday. So, sometimes it's just what happens. It's just a byproduct of just the sport you're playing, but your franchise left tackle, certainly that's a gut punch if it were to be worse. Luckily it's not. So yeah, good news for Texas. And, I think the only other injury, and it's not even really an injury. I think Michael Terry got a little bruise on his shoulder in the scrimmage. Yeah. So far so good. But again, you got to do these things to be ready.
Yeah, it's got to be physical. This is going to be a physical camp. Physicality's been the number one piece to this camp, and it's going to continue to be a physical camp. I'm going to have to bring this up. Jalen Tyler MM says, how does this affect practice? This type of thing can scare defensive players. I think these guys have seen all this many times before, and I can tell you this: if you take the field with any hesitation playing for Will Muschamp, you will not be on the field very long. So that will not have any effect on this Texas team in the way they practice and the way they attack the game. These guys they've seen injuries, they've had them. They know what they signed up for. It's going to continue to be a physical practice. I mean, the scrimmage this weekend will be another physical scrimmage. Texas is looking to take the physicality of this team to the next level this season, and they've got to have a physical second scrimmage to be able to make the decisions they need to make. Because I think coming out of the second scrimmage is when Sark and this staff, or whether it gets out publicly or not, are going to have a pretty good idea of where their two deep is headed getting into game week, which is not that far off. Yeah. So I don't think it's not going to affect the way players practice.
I would say, this morning's kind of scramble and us just trying to track down information, see what's what. You kind of start to put together in your mind, what do you do if you do lose Trevor Goosby? And I think it's given us, you kind of start to go down the depth chart and look at who they have in their room. They're much better positioned this year than they were last when they had some injuries on the offensive line. They have Andre Kojo back. They brought in Ajonte Newman. They've got that competition. I think Cole Hudson, again, this was when we were all worst case scenario in our minds. I think Cole Hudson became a lot more important because that gives you the position versatility if someone needs to kick back out to tackle. You got Cole Hudson that can come in there at guard. So I think it also gives you a better vision of, this offensive line seems to be in pretty good shape. And that's, obviously with Trevor Goosby healthy and they have depth, they have guys. They're going to have a much, I think, easier time finding those 8-9 guys they can try it out need be this year compared to last.
Yeah. And we just had another question come in from Michael Golden. It's a good question. I'd answered this earlier, but how do you bruise your knee with no contact? It's a play you see in basketball a lot is, you plant and you have a really powerful hyperextension of the knee. I actually did this one in basketball. I've never had any major injuries. I did this one in basketball my sophomore year in high school. So I tend to know about this one a little bit. But it's a plant, maybe get out over your feet a little bit, and it causes that. And because it was a run play. It was supposed to be a combo block from what I understand. And it can't the hyperextension happened prior to the contact. I mean, it was an arms fully extended situation where maybe got out over yourself a little bit. It caused that hyperextension. He stayed on his feet, but it caused a hyperextension of that knee. You see that in basketball a lot with guys, and they come away with bone bruises. And look, it's somebody said, Stephen Houston said, pain tolerance. That can be part of it. How quickly does a guy need to come back and get on the field can be part of it. But Texas is going in a good position because Trevor Goosby does not need to get back on this practice field anytime soon. They can let him get 100% before he gets back on the field again. But again, I mean, it's different for different guys. It can be a few days. It can be a couple of weeks. There's no really true way to know. That's why any report, what we were told, is no timetable for his return, kind of one of those day-to-day injuries. But again, the bone bruise happened on the hyperextension and the non-contact. And if you can look that up, go look at Giannis in basketball, and you'll see those a lot in hoops.
Yeah. There's some questions in there, Jared. I mean, this is a good opportunity. Like, if he is sitting out some practices or missing some time, we've been high on Jordan Coleman on OTF. I mean, who do you foresee as kind of a guy that steps up there in practice, at least for now? Who knows? We don't know the timetable. He could be practicing. Like, we don't know. But, if they do need to,
I can tell you this, is like with the linebackers being out, some of the young kids got a great opportunity in the first scrimmage. I'll tell you who had a really good scrimmage last Saturday at left tackle was Jonte Newman running with the twos. So, whether it's Jordan Coleman, who's been working with those twos off and on at left or right tackle, he's been kind of working at both. Jonte Newman, that's going to be invaluable practice reps. I mean, Jordan Coleman got a ton of invaluable practice reps in the spring with the ones when Trevor Goosby was out following the surgery he had, upper body surgery after the season. So now it's going to be an opportunity for one of those guys. I think the one thing that was talked about this morning is what happens if this was a longer-term situation before any MRI results were known. So there's obviously you're going to keep Melvin Ciani at right tackle, Brandon Baker at right guard. Nothing affects your lineup now. But what it's going to do, it's going to give a couple of young guys some invaluable reps here. That's a lot of first-team scrimmage reps coming this weekend for whoever that is that steps in for Goosby. And then the third now goes to two. So those 2 and 3 left tackles are going to get a lot of really good reps going against 1s and 2s coming up Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be curious to see because Sark even mentioned yesterday this coming Saturday. So last Saturday's scrimmage was, a moderate amount of reps for the first team, but more so second, third team. He said this Saturday is going to be more first team. It got more balanced out with more guys getting first team. He's not going to pull Arch off the field or Cam Coleman off the field and kind of interrupt, their rhythm. So it will. This will probably be the most telling scrimmage of fall this Saturday because then you really have to start looking at who's going to be your guys week 1 against Texas State.
Yeah. So again, we're going to wrap this up. We wanted to give Texas fans the latest after the Pete Thamel report. We confirmed that Trevor Goosby breathed a sigh of relief after the MRI results early this morning got read a short time ago. Trevor Goosby, bone bruise, left knee, day-to-day, no timetable really for his return, not expected to be long-term, but we'll wait, obviously, on official word from Texas and Trevor Goosby on that. But Trevor Goosby, he got very lucky, had a pretty bad hyperextension last night in practice and a shoulder pad at practice with helmets. On a live play, hyperextended that left knee, came away lucky. Bone bruise is what he's been diagnosed with. So we will see when Trevor Goosby returns back to the field. But per the reports, per our confirmation, no ligament damage. Hank, thank you very much for joining me. Texas fans, always thank you for being part of the OTF community. Trolls in the chat from other schools, we love you. Love you guys too. Thanks for helping the numbers go higher. We appreciate that. And take it back to your message board and run with it, whatever you want. But Thanks for supporting On Texas Football, Texas fans. We love all you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.